Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. It is week 11 of the NFL season, week 1-1. We are getting eerily close to the fantasy football playoffs. There's some big bye weeks this week. You will get some, I would say, some pretty heavy hitters back in your lineup this week, to say the least, with the Eagles, Chiefs, and Rams now off of their byes and Matt Stafford coming back from injury. There's a lot to unpack. Trade deadlines probably coming up for a lot of you, maybe some past, but I know some leagues still go up until playoff time. So any last-minute trades for teams looking to contend, we're here to help you answer all those. Let's get into it. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo, and I seem to be the only constant on this show. Ryan has...
Aren't you going to be out in 2 weeks?
irrelevant. Okay. Next week, we take the week off because that's Thanksgiving. All right.
Correct.
So that's great. Beautiful. Do I have to work 2 Wednesdays from now? Irrelevant. In the current state, I am the only constant on this show. This week with me, Josh, we say we hope you feel better, Ryan. Ryan is not feeling great in the current moment. So, Ryan, we're here with you.
Rest up. You can argue with us in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're here with you in spirit. So I'm not gonna lie, great week 10 for me. Clean sweep across the board. I won every league. So
nice.
we're riding a high. Keenan Allen once again continually proves that this man needs to be more valued than he actually is. It was a great week. It was just a great week all around. Great week all around from me. How about you, Josh?
Hit or miss, but when you play in as many leagues as I do, that's kind of how everything tends to go. But not too bad. My contending dynasty leagues, they won. Great, awesome. My not so contending dynasty teams did not, so great. Picking myself up in a couple redraft leagues, so I'm happy about that.
Didn't you play me in dynasty? I'm 0-9, so does that even count as a?
Well, but that's my. I've won 8 in a row in that league, so
I have lost 10 in a row. So not that I give a shit. I have 6 first-round picks. I'd rather keep losing. But yeah, hey, we got Kyler Murray back, baby. Look out. We're about to run the table. Kyler Murray, Kendre Miller on a bye. Look out. Jaylen Warren popped off last week. The guy I wanted in the trade.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. News and notes. In case you missed the dumpster fire that has been the Buffalo Bills 3 of the last 4 weeks, they fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. Their quarterback coach, Joe Brady, will now serve as their OC. You most recently know Joe Brady for his failed attempt at an offensive coordinator position with the Carolina Panthers. You most prominently know Joe Brady for being the offensive coordinator of the Joe Burrow-led LSU Tigers. Now, unfortunately for Joe Brady, once again, he does not have Justin Jefferson, Ja'Marr Chase, Joe Burrow in all of those weapons available.
He has Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen.
And Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, and Dalton Kincaid.
And Gabe Davis.
And Lombardi Lenny.
Yikes, Lombardi Lenny. Yikes. I was angry at this. As a Patriots fan, it makes me feel so good to watch the Bills just continually suck. Ken Dorsey wasn't the issue, folks. Ken Dorsey was not the issue. I'm just gonna explain to you in fantasy terms. Fun fact: who's the quarterback one of the fantasy football season? Josh, do you know that? I'm pretty sure you do.
QB1? Actually, I don't think I do.
It's Josh Allen by 20 points.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, granted, Jalen Hurts was on a bye last week, and they are neck and neck in fantasy points per game.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at points per game in
it's 0.1 off.
Standard, it's Hurts has a 0.3 points per game lead, and even in 6 point per passing touchdown, Allen is up 26.3 to 26.2 over Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm looking at Fantasy Pros. It's 23.6 to 23.7. They're neck and neck. Josh Allen currently is QB1 because he hasn't had his bye week yet. So it's very fair. But if you looked at what the Bills have done, and I told you Josh Allen was the quarterback 1 in the season, you'd look at me and slap me in the face. But you'd also slap me in the face if I told you Sam Howell was the quarterback 3 and Joshua Dobbs was the quarterback 7. So everybody can just go fuck themselves on their draft strategy, because why does it even matter at this point? So, but Josh Allen's quarterback 1. Has he played horrifically this season? I would say so. He leads the league in turnovers, and Mac Jones is employed. So that's not a good stat for him. But the fact he's throwing the ball so much, he's on the field enough to actually be scoring as many fantasy points and putting up as many statistics. He currently has the second
26 touchdowns.
Yeah. He has the second most pass attempts in the NFL. The only guy ahead of him is Sam Howell. Yeah. How often are the Commanders on the fucking field? All the time.
Yeah, he's throwing like 40 plus a game.
Because their run game isn't great, but they're always on the field because their defense has not stepped up a lot. And a lot of games they've been playing from behind. If Josh Allen's on the field so much, is that more so a product of him or more so a product of the defense? Because let's not forget, Sam Howell has 9 interceptions to Josh Allen's 11. It's not like Sam Howell's been holding on to the ball nice and tight. Jalen Hurts has been more efficient. He has 8 picks, but he only has 305 pass attempts. He's been more efficient with his work, and 316 on the ground, 7 rushing touchdowns. Obviously inflates your stats there. When you're a quarterback in even in 4-point passing touchdown leagues, you get that extra points for the rushing touchdown. I don't think Ken Dorsey was the issue. I strongly believe Sean McDermott is an overrated head coach who has not been able to get the best out of his team in the biggest moments. You lost to the fucking Broncos at home. You had 12 men on the field on a Will Lutz missed field goal, and they got to kick it again.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to sit here and feel like I'm trying to defend Sean McDermott, because every team goes through injuries, but this defense got hit hard with some very key injuries. And
agreed. Look at every other team.
Exactly. Like, great teams find ways to overcome that. And I think that McDermott has kind of been spoiled over the last couple of years because he's been able to play that sort of CEO role because Leslie Frazier calls a really good defense and McDermott just lets him do his thing. This year, he's had to wear every single hat, kind of micromanage on the offensive side when he is a defensive-minded head coach, on top of trying to call the defensive games, draw up the defensive game plan, and circumvent all of these injuries that have derailed that defense.
It's almost like guys that were good coordinators can't do both jobs. Sean McDermott was I'm just say fine.
Fantastic defensive coordinator.
It was a fantastic defensive coordinator. Fine head coach, but Leslie Frazier was a great DC. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying there is Bill Belichick and Andy Reid. Can you name me another coach recently that has done a pretty good job over a consistent period of time? I say consistent because I'm not including Mike McDaniel in that statement. Is you can't. You simply can't. A guy that can control both sides or one side of the ball and head coach. You can't. It's really hard to find those guys. So I honestly think they need to find a DC or get rid of Sean McDermott. Hell, move Sean McDermott to the DC spot and find a fucking head coach.
Yeah, those types of moves don't work in the NFL.
No, they do not. They 100% do not. The Steelers open the 21-day practice window for Pat Freiermuth. He should be good to play Sunday. And the practice window for Devon Achane, so he's changed his name 17 times this season, expected to play on Sunday, which is massive because they play a joke of a franchise. The Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson has got all of his money guaranteed, fleeing to Argentina, and is out for the season with a broken bone in his shoulder. He's undergoing surgery, also dealing with a high ankle sprain suffered during Sunday's win. Not PJ Walker. Not like he's 2-0 as your starter, Kevin O'Connell, but sure, you do you, buddy. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Remember that guy
You mean Kevin Stefanski?
I always get them fucking mixed up. They both look like just ordinary average white dudes that shouldn't have head coaching jobs in the NFL. They look like if a Twinkie got an NFL head coaching job and you can't tell the difference. So DTR, the guy who literally, if you gave him a 1,000 square foot pool, couldn't hit it if he was a centimeter from it jumping out of a boat, is expected to start in place of the injured Deshaun Watson. If we don't see PJ Walker by the second half, it's a miracle, folks. It is an utter miracle. Matt Stafford expected to be back along with Justin Fields in week 11. And Nick Mullins has been designated to return from IR. Too fucking bad. Josh Dobbs is the quarterback 7 in fantasy football this year and is a fucking dog, certified NASA engineer dog. Okay. It doesn't matter. Nick Mullins is now the backup to Joshua Dobbs. Congratulations, Nick. You've now retained the backup role. You were originally
had anyway. So there you go.
No. He was the third string. So congratulations on moving up in the world. You got replaced by an NFL journeyman. Congratulations. Okay, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of questions early. Love it. From Will, CJ or Tua off a bye, and we'll just start there because there's a couple. I will answer first because I know you got to do timestamps on tonight. I'm not benching CJ Stroud. There's no shot in hell I am benching CJ Stroud. I've done it twice, and I've ate my words the last 2 weeks. I get it. Don't bench CJ Stroud. He is on one right now. He is on one right now.
He's on fire.
Josh?
I will say he did have kind of a mediocre fantasy day last week.
He scored
Cardinals
27 in one of my leagues.
Oh, that's different scoring. I think it was 18 in most 6-point per touchdown leagues. So he would have been even lower than that in standard. But I mean, against the Cardinals, I mean, they can 100% be beat. You know what? I mean, it's hard to say sit Tua because just how well that Dolphins offense has played. But I got to give it up to Antonio Pierce. The Raiders have looked good. Like, they're playing really good defense right now. They're getting after the quarterback. You're telling me a defensive guy has his defense playing good? That's crazy. Mind-blowing, right? Mind-blowing. I would still lean Tua here, but damn, that is a really good problem to have. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely a good problem. I ride, like, we normally don't say ride the hot hand here because, like, you know, you're chasing points. No, ride the fucking hot hand. This man's on one. And let's chill on the MVP conversation, people. Okay, they're 5-5. Let's chill on the MVP conversation.
I will say I am sitting Tua in a dynasty super flex, but that's only because I have both Jalen Hurts and Jared Goff, and I want that Jared Goff at home matchup against the Bears, so I can afford to sit Tua in that instance.
And then we'll pick two here. Sit one: Jaylen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, Javonte Williams. Williams has been ticking up recently. Garrett Wilson, I mean, Zach Wilson has reverted back to Zach Wilson, folks. So that's a scary prospect. I will probably sit Garrett Wilson. I'd sit Garrett Wilson.
Who do the Jets have this week?
The Jets are in Buffalo, so a pipsqueak team.
The problem is that you have a decent floor with Garrett Wilson if it's points per reception. But if it's standard, he's literally getting you nothing. The Jets haven't scored an offensive touchdown in like 3 games, it feels like. Like, it's so bad.
Scored the last stat I saw was 36 drives.
Yeah, it's been rough. The Vikings defense has played really well. I don't love that matchup for Javonte on Sunday night. Waddle seemingly is in and out of the lineup with back issues. If it's points per reception, I'm going to sit Javonte. If it's not, I'll sit Garrett Wilson.
I'm going to sit Garrett Wilson. I do not trust the Jets in the slightest, even though I believe the Jets beat the Bills this week. Do I believe it, actually? No, I don't believe it. Am I willing that into existence because watching the Bills suck is my favorite pastime? Yes, 100%, not even a question. Elixirs, haven't read this yet. Excited to. Won against Keenan Allen, bringing him to 4-6, 10th place. Love that for you. Picked up Karen Williams off waivers. Nice. His dad benched Jahmyr Gibbs for Tony Pollard. Lost, bringing him to 4-6, 11th place. Second place is 6-4. We're still in it. Yes, you are.
My work league is kind of similar. Like, I'm sitting right now at 4-6, and I've got a really good team. I'm actually projected to third most points, but I was dealt with so many injuries early on that I'm sitting at 4-6. But third place is like 6-4.
I believe
I'm really like not out of it by any means.
I believe there's 6 teams in my home league that are 5-5. The first place is 7-3. You could be sitting in 10th place and you're 2 games out of first place. That's insane. 100%. I've had parody in that league up the wazoo the last few years. It's crazy. Madison is a big Tony Pollard fan this week. Well, Madison, I hope you're ready to be disappointed.
Stop.
Caesar won in all of his money leagues. That's big time. Emma joins us again, asking the obligatory Taylor Swift question: does Kelce do a Taylor Swift related celebration this week after the spectacle of her Argentina shows? I don't know exactly what a Taylor Swift celebration would look like. Is it like the lay down on the chair and slap your legs wide open move?
Stop.
Would that be the Taylor move? I don't know. I don't keep up with Swizzle and her woes on tour. I don't really know. Maybe Taylor's in the front row or on the sideline and Kelce runs and hugs her after he scores a touchdown this week, even though I think Travis Kelce's outside the top 8, but we'll get to that later. Elixir's bench 1, Rachaad, White, Jahmyr, Gibbs, Tony. I've really been bad this year, Pollard. Josh.
Yeah. I really like Pollard
White
this week, which we'll see.
I'd bench.
Yeah,
bench
White against San Francisco is not great. That was the one matchup when I talked about, I think it was a couple Mondays ago, when I was like, White is kind of one of my buy candidates for the back half of the season. He's got a lot of really good matchups against San Francisco this week. Not one of them. You're sitting Rachaad White.
Yeah, you're sitting Rachaad White. From Anti-Kills, DeAndre or Marquise Brown. What a depressing week the Titans had last week. Extremely depressing. The Titans will go on the road to Jacksonville. Marquise Brown will go on the road to Houston. I think you have to ride DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. Marquise Brown they get Derek Stingley back for Houston. Houston's played really well on defense. Yeah. I think right now, all Kyler wants to do is just keep it short and simple for right now. And Houston really struggles against tight ends. I think you're going to see another really big Trey McBride week. So I would lean Hopkins here out of default.
DeAndre Hopkins. It's not going to be fun, but DeAndre Hopkins. Going against 2 Allen owners. Both are benching him, 1 for Dak, 1 for Murray. Wow. The downfall of Josh Allen. Life sucks.
I mean, why? Literally, we just talked about this. He is the QB1.
Yeah.
Again, you beat Carolina on the ground. Like, again, we'll get to this with Tony Pollard when I sing his praises, but I'm certainly not benching Josh Allen for Kyler Murray. Like, that's just asinine to me. But
again,
hey, to each their own, I guess.
If I asked you without knowing who the quarterback 1 on the season is, I don't think there is a single living soul that wouldn't have known beforehand that they would have said Josh. Nobody would have said Josh Allen. Nobody. He's been awful this year. So it is crazy, but I mean, bold of them. That's just a straight. I've watched football and haven't looked at the points, and probably a panic week. I mean, again, is the Jets defense good? Sure. Should Buffalo ass pound them at home? Yeah, they should. They really should. So, I mean, this is not the week to bench Josh Allen for Dak, like Josh said. It's not the week to do it. That is chasing points. That is chasing points with Dak Prescott right there. And we all know, why are we getting excited? We all know Dak Prescott is just going to let down Cowboys fans in the first round of the playoffs. We all know that's going to happen. Why are we getting excited? This happens every year with Dak Prescott. First few weeks, we're like, did Dak fucking suck? Why is he still the quarterback of the Cowboys? Then middle of the season, we're like, is Dak Jesus? Is this what's happening? Is Dak Prescott the next coming of God himself? And then towards the end of the season, you start seeing Dak Prescott come back down to earth. And then he slides with 8 seconds left on the clock in a playoff game, and they can't spike it for a game-winning field goal. That's Dak Prescott in a fucking nutshell right there. You want to know why? Because he's on the fucking Cowboys. That is exactly what's going to happen. Detroit, I'm going to tell you, is going to Detroit in the playoffs right now. It's going to happen. You want to know why? Because it's Detroit. If that team was in Minnesota, we're fine. That team was in Green Bay, all good. Because they have Detroit, they will Detroit. Just like the Chargers charger every week. What did they do last week? The Chargers chargered. They scored 38 fucking points and lost. Brandon Staley's still employed, folks. That's insane. Getting into the upsides here. Ryan added his in. I did not see that. Well, yeah. Look at this man. Look at this dude. Okay. I'll start with Ryan's then real quick, just to get his out of the way. Since he is out, he's doing the all 2 touchdown special, mainly to upset
you off.
Yes, just to piss me off. Well, folks, I'm happy he put Travis Kelce because I have him as a downside. So that is a perfect curse for Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, 2 touchdown special against Philadelphia, 2 tutty special to Stephon Diggs against the Jets. He's the only wide receiver touchdown scored against them this season. And he's frankly mad, which is true. And the 2 touchdown special will go to Brian Robinson against the New York Football Giants. Moving to Josh's picks. Goose egg last week, my friend. That's okay. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 100-plus receiving yards for the 5th game in a row against the Bears. I honestly feel like that's not enough. I think you should have bet like 150 or 200.
I'm trying to get some cheap wins here.
He is a walking 100 yards. Just simply a walking. He is a walking target. He's never covered ever in any game ever. Jerome Ford, 12-plus fantasy points against Pittsburgh. You just need one fucking run out of that guy because he'll have 12 carries for -7 yards, but he might have 1 for 85.
Of course, I made this pick before they announced this morning that Deshaun Watson was out. So I am a little nervous, but I do have a few stats to back.
You're telling me Pittsburgh is going to stack the box against the weapon that is Dorian Thompson-Robinson? That's what you're telling me. They're not worried about
Pittsburgh
the 5th round rookie's arm?
I think it's since like 20, I can't remember what year it is, but they've only lost like 5 games to rookie quarterbacks. So like they're going to eat up DTR alive. Like it's not going to be pretty.
I'm not going to lie to you. The local high school team here in Indiana could probably eat DTR up alive. So it's not hard. He's not good, folks. Why is he in the game? It is insane. But the talking point, Tony Pollard scores at least 1 touchdown. It could be rushing. It could be receiving. It could be passing. It could be a fumble recovery. It could be
scores at least 1.
Just
at least 1.
Just 1, folks. That's all we're asking for. Is that too much to ask for out of a guy that was being drafted in the low 1st round, high 2nd round? Is that too much to ask? I don't know, because I mean, if you asked us before the season, I didn't like it. I didn't like Tony Pollard. But Josh, tell everybody that drafted Tony Pollard why they should have hope against arguably one of the worst run defenses seen in a long time.
Yeah, they're bad. On the season, Carolina allows the 3rd most fantasy points to running backs. Since week 6, Carolina allows the most fantasy points per game to running backs, 28.6. They allow almost 2 total touchdowns per game. But on top of that, they allow 5.3 receptions per game. We know that this is where Tony Pollard excels. On the season, he has 4 games this year with 5 or more targets. Last week was the only week this season where he did not see a single target. The biggest reason why I love this matchup, and it's not necessarily because, Carolina sucks against running backs. Pollard has only scored 2 touchdowns all year, and those touchdowns came in week 1. There are a lot of things that Dallas needs to do to get this offense right. They started it last week with Dak going bonkers against the Giants, but one of his favorite targets was Brandon Cooks for 173 yards. How many times have we heard Brandon Cooks' name this season?
Once.
Exactly.
When they signed Martavis Bryant.
Exactly. So they need to build the confidence of people in this offense that have been struggling. Dallas has a pretty tough schedule starting in week 13, where they're home to Seattle, home to Philly, at Buffalo, at Miami, home to Detroit, before going to Washington to close out the season. They need to be firing on all cylinders going into that stretch of games if they expect to make any sort of noise in the playoffs. If you do not get your running game fixed, and by running game fixed, I mean Tony Pollard fixed, get his confidence up, you do not stand a chance in more than half of those games. This has to be a Tony Pollard week. Has to be.
Tony Pollard, currently the RB20 in PPR leagues. Some guys, you may ask me, who were drafted far behind him that have more points. Great question, crowd. Gus Edwards, James Cook, Isiah Pacheco, Rachaad White, DeAndre Swift, Zach Moss, who coming into week 10 was second in the NFL in rushing yards. Alvin Kamara, Raheem Mostert.
Who missed the first 3 games of the year?
Alvin Kamara is the RB5. You want to know why? Because Derek Carr can't throw the football. Now, I'm going to tell you, Alvin Kamara fantasy managers, if Jameis Winston starts, you can kiss those 25 points goodbye. They're more so turning into 10. Because if Jameis Winston ever checks down the football, that's the day he actually becomes a good NFL quarterback. And we all know that's never going to happen. So it's Tony Pollard has been an aggressively over-the-top disappointment. Just insanely disappointing. And we had said this, I believe you and I were on the same page here. We both agreed Tony Pollard's efficiency was going to plummet, was going to go in the tubes. He was 5.5 yards per carry, I believe, in 2022.
It was over 5.
It was over 5.
I know that for certain.
3.9. He's averaging 1.5 yards less per carry.
I will say, here's one thing that I am looking at with the Cowboys over the next couple of weeks. This week against Carolina, I believe they get Washington next week. I want to see how much more they use Rico Dowdle, because they were using him a lot in garbage time last week. He scored a touchdown late in the game. He's 215 pounds, a little bit bigger than Tony Pollard. If he can start taking on more of that like Zeke type bruiser role in this offense, that is going to do wonders for Tony Pollard and his efficiency down the stretch.
See Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara.
Yep.
See that. Yeah, that's, I mean, yes, please. That needs to happen for him to get better. My upsides here, I got Trevor Lawrence top 8 against Tennessee. I don't know. Dalton Kincaid top 4 against the Jets. Fuck it at this point, right? Fuck it. And Courtland Sutton top 15 against the Vikings.
Love that one.
Been banging the fucking drum. It's about time they throw this man the football. Russell Wilson threw up a prayer, and nobody in the building, including Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, thought he caught that in bounds. I knew the moment I saw it. I was like, that motherfucker just caught that. What do you mean, guys? This is Courtland Sutton. SMU wide receiver Courtland Sutton. Southern Methodist. Pony up.
7 touchdowns on the year.
He's wide receiver 24.
I was going to say, that is a guy, if you had told me he was wide receiver 25, considering how bad this Denver Broncos offense has been this year, I would have asked for you to take a drug test, because there is just no way. But again, he keeps scoring touchdowns. The yardage numbers really are not there. They're nothing spectacular. The same thing with the receptions. They're not great, but he's scoring touchdowns. He's going to be somebody next year that ultimately gets overvalued because of where he finishes this year, because everybody is expecting the touchdown rate to stay high, and it's going to regress to the mean.
Players with 7 or more receiving touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Jordan Addison, Courtland Sutton. How's that for a list? Guys drafted before Courtland Sutton that you may be kicking yourself for right now. Jaylen Waddle, not the hottest season on planet Earth so far. Justin Jefferson, I'm just kidding. He's just low because he's obviously missed time. That was a funny one. DeAndre Hopkins, disappointment. Devonta Smith is lower than Courtland Sutton right now. They're neck and neck, but he's lower. There was another guy on this list. DK Metcalf, wide receiver 38. He's not even startable in traditional fantasy football leagues. Not. So that Calvin Ridley, how about a big kick in the nuts? Calvin Ridley's been. So Deebo Samuel, I know, is being drafted higher than Courtland Sutton. How about his buddy Jerry?
He did miss some time, but
yes. How about his buddy Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver 55?
Guys, I've been singing those praises for a while. Jerry Judy's not good. Nobody want to listen to me.
We can't explain this enough to you. Jerry Jeudy is a bum. Okay, Jerry Jeudy is a straight up bum. If you don't believe us, listen to Steve Smith. He's kind of smart. Listen to Steve Smith. Courtland Sutton is a great matchup this week. They're in prime time again, and very clearly the Broncos have been on a tear. I'm not going to give credit to Sean Payton because fuck him, but very clearly something is happening in that organization. Something's rolling, and Minnesota is good enough to contend and put up points back and forth with that team. Now, I don't love that it's in Denver on Sunday night in the cold, and Josh Dobbs has been playing in a dome all season, including in Minnesota, but it should be a competitive game, and I think Courtland Sutton has a great match. Courtland Sutton is going to play against the bummiest of bums on planet Earth that the NFL employs in the Minnesota Vikings secondary. So, yeah, it should be a very good week.
The Vikings defense as a whole has played better of late.
They have played better of late.
Figure out Brian Flores' system.
Their secondary is still really bad. Their front seven.
I'm not saying they're not devoid of talent, but
no. So
sometimes scheme matters more than talent. So
I agree with you, and we always say, how do you cover up a bad secondary? A good pass rush. And they've been getting there. That Flores is dialing up these intricate blitzes like he's been doing his whole career. I personally don't think that matters. When you have
fewest fantasy points to wide receivers since week 6.
I don't care.
That's 5 games. I mean,
I don't care. Fuck it. I don't care. Courtland Sutton top 15.
All he needs is a touchdown. He'll pay off. So
yep. Also,
he's about as good a bet as any to get that right now.
Also, all any of you need to know is that Keenan Allen, who you could have drafted in the 40s, is the wide receiver 2. So that's all any of you need to take. If you take away one thing from this conversation about Courtland Sutton, it's that Keenan Allen is the wide receiver 2 in the season. He was taken in the 4th round. That's what you need to take away from this. Okay. For those of you that were like, oh, should I drafted Chase, Jefferson, or Christian McCaffrey? Christian McCaffrey has 220 fantasy points. The next closest running back is 50 points away. It's not even close. There are 4 guys above 200 fantasy points at the wide receiver position. One, aforementioned, you could have gotten in the 4th round. And there are 7 wide receivers higher than the running back 2. Receiver depth is there, folks. You could have gotten Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 2nd or 3rd round. You could have gotten CeeDee Lamb in the 2nd or 3rd round. But no, you said, let me go get Justin Jefferson or Ja'Marr Chase. I hope you're eating it right now. No offense to any of you in the chat that did that, but I hope you're eating it right now. Christian McCaffrey is insane. You should never pass up that talent. Elixirs, Rashee Rice, JSN. We'll start there. Rashee Rice, I will continually trust this man. He has a very good matchup. I love Rashee Rice, and I will go to the second one while you're still typing, Josh. Fields or Purdy. I mean, I'm not worried about Fields' injury. I don't love the matchup against Detroit is my only worry. I don't fully trust either of these guys, but I will take the rushing upside of Justin Fields reluctantly. Josh.
I'll start with
I'm also imagining this is a standard. So
yeah, it's Elixirs.
It's Elixirs. STD leagues.
Starting with the wide receivers, Rashee Rice or JSN. It's standard, so I'm going to go Rashee Rice. Philly secondary, they allowed the most fantasy points to wide receivers, mostly on the season, but also since week 6.
Yeah.
JSN has started to see more run, but he's still a firm 3rd in the pecking order when it comes to targets. I just think Rice is an easier asset to trust at that point. With the quarterbacks, I'm a little nervous on Fields. I mean, they're still saying that he's still like they're testing him, right? Yeah, he can get the rushing yards, but all he has to do is fumble a couple times before they say, you know what, your thumb's just not ready yet, and they put Tyson Bagent back in the game. Purdy's the much safer option, and I would stick with Purdy.
It's a very scary prospect with Fields. I 100% agree with you there. Joe, eat glass, okay? No one's perfect. No one's perfect, all right? All right? Deion Sanders can be a little crooked. Everything's fine. I think Darius Slay himself. No, Slay looks fine. Slay looks fine. Let's look up top. Cammy Curl looks great. Ricky Williams, my boy. Keenan Allen, where are you? What up, baby? And John Hanna.
You're welcome for that birthday present.
Yeah, thank you. And John Hanna, the greatest left tackle to ever exist ever in human history, up there, my boy. And then over on this wall, you can't see, but Barry Sanders, Oklahoma State. And that is a Pat Tillman 1997 Rose Bowl jersey. So we're chilling, folks. We're looking good right now. Start 2, Etienne, Swift, Mostert. So who are you benching here? Travis Etienne is going to play a team this week. He's playing Tennessee. Swift, the Eagles will go on the road to Kansas City, and Mostert will be at home against the Las Vegas Raiders. I like Etienne this week, but I feel like he's the sit. Josh, you're the Eagles guy. I'm between Etienne and Swift.
I'm definitely starting Swift.
Okay, then I'm benching Etienne.
There's not. I mean, the thing with Swift, you just worry that Jalen Hurts is going to steal the touchdowns, right?
Yes.
Etienne is getting way too much volume to sit him. He's involved all over the place, not just on the ground, but in the passing game. We know that the Titans tend to swallow up running backs, but Etienne is so electric. I mean, you were still trotting him out there against San Francisco last week. Like, he put up a dud, and I get it. But, he's the RB3 on the season. You're not sitting him. So for me, this is really between Swift and Mostert. With Devon Achane coming back, maybe that helps Mostert's case, but Mostert does not look good the last, 3 games probably?
He's 31. Like,
that's my point. Like, maybe the bye week refreshed his legs, but we talked about this earlier. The Raiders defense has looked really good the last couple of weeks. Sans Josh McDaniels as head coach. So
if the shoe drops on that defense, it's the run game.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I think I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Of these 3, I'll probably sit Swift.
I'll trust Josh.
Mostert is he's the premium upside play. Like,
oh yeah. And Miami won't take their foot off the gas, so it doesn't matter. I will trust Josh. That's why I was like Etienne or Swift. Tell me about Swift, because that touchdown upside I feel is capped. So I will bench Swift as well. We'll go together there. Stroud or Trevor Lawrence this week. Joe's leaning Stroud. I think we will say in unison, you cannot bench CJ Stroud at this point. So, yes.
I mean, in all honesty, why do you even want to trust Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, you
drafted him as your starter. Like, he has been awful.
Bad.
Awful this year.
Bad. Really bad.
And don't get me wrong, this is definitely a matchup where he can get right.
Yeah.
But there is some level of disconnect there between Peterson's calling plays, T-Law receiving said plays. I don't know what it is, but Trevor Lawrence has taken a big step back this year, and it's concerning.
Is it weird to say that Calvin Ridley might be the problem?
It could be. Because maybe in a way they're trying to find ways to get him involved when he already has a great rapport with Christian Kirk, and that rapport works. They also haven't had Zay Jones the last few games, and then he got popped for I don't know if it was domestic violence or he got arrested for something, but
too much of a dog. Come on, Zay, dude. I love you. What are you doing? You idiot. Come on.
I just didn't put that in the news and notes because he's been largely irrelevant this year.
Yeah. Christian Kirk is wide receiver 17 on the year. Yeah. How about this? Him and Jacoby Myers are tied for wide receiver 17. Jacoby Myers was being taken as the wide receiver 55.
Yeah, people were way out on him.
And
again, that's another guy. Touchdowns.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought touchdowns in Jacoby Myers?
What was it, 2 years ago? He had literally 0.
Dog. Woof. Jacoby Myers. Woof. Insane. Okay. Tank Dell or DJ Moore. Really good question. I am benching Moore any chance I can get, just because I that matchup just feels icky to me against Detroit. It just feels if it was in Chicago, I'd feel a lot more comfortable. It feels really icky in Detroit. So I am benching DJ Moore. I love Tank Dell's matchup this week.
I mean, the couple leagues that I have DJ Moore, I'm kind of forced to start him. I've had confidence the last couple weeks, as witnessed by my upside picks and as witnessed by my goose eggs in those picks. I'm off the DJ Moore train. But again, it goes back to the Fields or Purdy question, right? If we know that Fields is fine and he can grip the football, you're trotting out DJ Moore every single week, and it's not a question. Because especially against Detroit, where their secondary is their weak point, DJ Moore could very well have a field day if Justin Fields and his thumb are just fine.
Could have a Fields day.
There you go. But Tank Dell, it's just, I don't know how you sit anybody in that Texans offense right now outside of Dameon Pierce.
Who would have thought before the season we said you should not bench Noah Brown or Tank Dell? Like what?
I wrote in the waiver wire column this week because I was filling in for Ryan, and we were talking about, I wrote about Noah Brown, and I was like, you know what? He's going off because of the injuries, right? First it was Robert Woods, then it's Nico Collins. When all four of these guys are healthy, what do? Guess what? You're playing wide receiver roulette with the Houston Texans, because you need these pieces on your fantasy teams. Even if they're just bench stashes at this point, you need these Houston Texans, especially in the passing game, on your fantasy teams, because CJ Stroud has been that fucking good.
I'll tell you, I mean, at that point they turn into the early 2010s New Orleans Saints with Marquise Colston, Robert Meacham, and Lance Moore. You didn't know. You simply did not know week to week what was going to happen.
100%. Marquise Dell has been really good. So I mean, it's hard to sit him, especially with the uncertainty with DJ Moore. Play it safe. Start Tank Dell.
100%. All right. Isiah, I don't know if you were here when we were talking about this. Josh Allen is the quarterback one in the season. I know it probably doesn't seem like it, but he really is. Play Josh Allen. He's getting fantasy points. Kyler Murray, you look good. I like Kyler Murray moving forward 100%, like getting into playoff matchups and stuff like that. Kyler Murray is great. Just give him a little time to get back into it. This is a really good question of Dalton Kincaid or Trey McBride, because also, why the fuck are we asking this question in week 11?
Both of them have been fantastic of late.
No.
Taking advantage of the starters in front of them getting hurt.
I'm aware. But why? Because did anybody draft him? Dalton Kincaid. Maybe.
Kincaid, yes. McBride.
What are we doing here? Like, I'm pretty sure Dalton Kincaid is a top 12 fantasy tight end, and he scored 94 points. What is this? I think
McBride
position?
Is the tight end 2 over the last 3-4 weeks.
Trey McBride is the tight end 16, and I'm pretty sure he's done nothing outside of the last 2 weeks. This is how piss poor this position is. Arizona will play Houston. I like Kincaid a lot. I think the Jets can be beat at the tight end spot. So I would go with Kincaid. Personally,
I'm all in on McBride this week. I said that earlier. I think Houston is just awful against tight ends. That is the one, you are going to beat that defense by targeting your tight end. Give me all the Trey McBride this week.
Whatever you do, you're not wrong. Honestly,
no. I mean, you're probably talking a 4-point variable at most.
Honestly, a touchdown variable. I think that's what it is. So
it could be. I would say Kincaid is probably more likely to score an actual touchdown versus McBride.
Yeah,
that's what I would.
Caesar,
say.
We don't condone bullying on this show unless it's me bullying people listening or Josh and Ryan. But I agree with this statement. Trade Freiermuth and Christian Watson for Deebo Samuel. Yes. I mean, you can get a tight end that will do just as much as Pat Freiermuth on the waiver wire, and Christian Watson. It feels like he's been giving you negative points all year. So, yes.
I mean, really, for as not great as Debo's been, he's been better than Christian Watson.
Yeah.
So like, I would
we
take
collectively as a unit have been better than Christian Watson. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's not totally fair because he would kill all of us in wind sprints, even with a bum hammy.
Congratulations. Yeah. You're in the NFL to do wind sprints. I know Tavon Austin was in the NFL to do that as well, and his career lasted wrong. John Ross. Remember John Ross one season? You had more points than John Ross one season. You want to know why? He was one catch for -2 yards and a fumble. You had more fantasy points one season than John Ross did. Just remember that. Just remember that you have scored more fantasy points than John Ross. Congratulations, folks. You did it. You could have drafted yourselves.
Put that on your mantle, Joe.
Put that on your fucking resume, dude. Put it on your resume. Scored more fantasy points than an NFL wide receiver by sitting on my couch.
Somebody needs to put that in their Twitter bio, seriously.
Don't think I won't. Are you kidding me? Tootsie, Flex 1, D-Hop, Rachaad, Keaton Mitchell, Tyler Boyd. I need to go back to our fucking running back preview show for the draft because I know for a fact I mentioned Keaton Mitchell because his combine stats were top 3 in every category. I need to just have some satisfaction that I called that name out before a lot of people did. This is a tough question. Who does Baltimore play this week? Is going to be
a Thursday night game against Cincy.
I don't like short weeks.
Well, Keaton Mitchell's also dealing with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, he is.
That would be my biggest worry with Keaton Mitchell. So for me, this really boils down to DeAndre Hopkins versus Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, is T. Higgins out? If T. Higgins is out,
has already been ruled out. So
Tyler,
for me, this
Tyler
is
Boyd.
Tyler Boyd.
Smash. Tyler Boyd, smash. Yeah. Yes, Tyler Boyd. Just traded away Kenneth Walker for Tony Pollard. Is it fair? George? No. You should have gotten a little more for Kenny. You're probably sitting on let's knock on the wood that I have here. You're sitting on a good week for Tony Pollard. 100%. You're sitting on a good week for Pollard. If I'm you, if you can still trade after this week, Pollard goes off this week, 102 touchdowns, trade his ass. Go get a better running back, more consistent running back for Tony Pollard. I don't think his production will continue after this week. Josh read off the gauntlet that the Cowboys will be playing. They are not going to be running the football in those games. They are going to be throwing the football in those games.
So at that point, you're praying that Tony Pollard gets a lot more involved in the passing game than he did last week.
He needs 5 catches a week to be relevant for what you did. Yeah.
Especially since he's not scoring touchdowns.
Correct.
Although that's going to change this week.
Safe to play Keaton Mitchell, Bijan's on a bye. I mean, you'll know because you don't know the injury. I mean, if you have no other options and he's announced as healthy and playing, you're obviously hands tied behind your back at that point. But I don't know who you have on waivers, Mike. I know you hear a lot.
Dude, waivers is so bad at the running back position. Oh, my God.
It is thin.
Awful. And you cannot get anybody to trade a fucking running back these days. At all. No. It is so, like, I have thrown out so many offers, and they're like,
they must be listening to our show.
I got nothing.
Me being the running back fucking hoarder that I am.
It's so bad they're hoarding bad running backs.
100%. I'm gonna find the league here that I'm just aggressively proud of, because I'm number 1 in IDP. I have the number 1 IDP roster and the number 1 running back class. My rushing rank has now dropped to 2nd. My apologies, folks. Not as good. Quarterbacks 10th. Yeah, that checks out. I don't give a shit. My receiving rank is 8th, but I have Christian Kirk, Puka Nacua. So confused. But yeah, it's great when you have Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Arham, Travis Etienne.
So real quick, Mike points out he does have Royce Freeman and Jaleel McLaughlin. So I'm going to say this. McLaughlin
I would say Jaleel
has really not done much of anything, even in PPR, half PPR standard, nothing. But it's been the Javonte Williams show of late for Denver.
Would you
Royce
rather
Freeman
Jaleel
is very much a hard throw.
Would you rather McLaughlin or Mitchell on an injury? I'd rather McLaughlin.
If Mitchell plays, I'm playing Mitchell. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Okay.
Because you have the leeway here because Mitchell plays Thursday night, right? So if he's going in, he hasn't been ruled out yet. So you're kind of assuming that he's going to go through warm-ups and everything will kind of play itself out. If he plays, you're starting Keaton Mitchell over these two, and it's not even close for me.
Yeah. That's fair.
Other than that, I would flip to Royce.
Okay. There you go. Thoughts on Cooper and Ford rest of season? If Dorian Thompson-Robinson is his quarterback, Amari Cooper may be the wide receiver -200 on the season. It's not looking good if he's his quarterback. If PJ Walker throws to him, that's fine. If DTR is in the lineup, that's not good for Jerome Ford either because you can just stack the box. So
disagree. Jerome Ford will do plenty in the pass game. These are some of the notes that I had when I put him as one of my upsides. His lone game with DTR at quarterback in week 4, he had 6 targets, 5 receptions. Didn't go for much. It was 19 yards. To your point, yes, they're probably going to stack the box. That the timeshare at running back has slowly started to shift towards Jerome Ford. Yeah, you're probably going to see some 20 carries for 36 yards. Maybe he sneaks in a touchdown because, again, rookie quarterbacks, if he doesn't show something, the way that, I don't even want to say CJ Stroud because that's just an awful comparison, but a competent rookie quarterback versus a Tyson Bagent. Aiden O'Connell, correct. Someone like that, if he can at least show I'm not afraid to look downfield, that's going to help Jerome Ford. But
I agree with that.
For this week, yeah, Ford is a little rough. Not the greatest, but he's going to get receptions because young quarterbacks are going to check the ball down. That's why in that lone start, David Njoku was startable. That's why Jerome Ford was startable. Those are the guys I'm not worried about. Amari Cooper is the guy that I'm worried about because he gets yards in chunks. He's the guy that will go 5 catches for 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to get that with DTR at quarterback.
No. Dice dealer, flex 1, Breece, Walker, Swift, James, Connor coming off injury. Breece Hall and the Jets will go into Buffalo. Kenny Walks will do something and play a team. They're in Los Angeles. Swift Monday night in KC. James Conner is playing in Houston. You can't sit Kenneth Walker, right? He's your flex.
Yeah, that's kind of the prevailing thought. Walker.
I know Zach Charbonnet is out.
Charbonnet is definitely making. Yeah, he's actually outsnapped him the last 3 weeks.
I know, but
who's
played better?
Here's the thing with Walker. He's the big play guy. The 1 catch, 64-yard touchdown, he turns his complete fantasy day around on 1 touch. Charbonnet is the guy that is typically on the field in those passing downs, getting that work that we like to see from running backs, especially in PPR. But the way that Walker is producing right now, I don't think that you can firmly sit him and feel comfortable with it because the moment that you sit him is the week that he's going to blow up.
I agree. Deontay Johnson or Tyler Boyd tugging at the heartstrings, Josh?
No, it's Tyler Boyd for me. I do not like this matchup for Deontay Johnson this week.
I am also Tyler Boyd. T. Higgins is out. Burrow loves him some Tyler Boyd. Dahl. Trade Aaron Jones and Tank Dell for Trey McBride and Javonte Williams. I am a hard no on this one. Josh. I'll explain my hard no while you timestamp pitch it up over there. We're not trading for Trey McBride. Sorry. We're not selling Tank Dell and Aaron Jones. You should be selling Tank Dell for way higher than Trey McBride, I think.
Honestly, though, I think this is a pretty fair deal only because Aaron Jones has kind of sucked ass lately. He's been bad.
Aaron Jones has been straight up atrocious. But are we ready to trust the Broncos that much that you're going to trade Tank Dell?
I have zero issue trusting the volume that Javonte Williams brings. And right now at the running back position, that's few and far between.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Samaje Perine has been a non-factor. Like I said, McLaughlin had a nice little stretch in the middle of the season, but you're starting to see that Broncos coaching staff trust Javonte Williams. He's back from the ACL. Like, he's getting that full workload.
Yeah.
And like you said with McBride, I get it, but I'm completely fine riding the McBride train. Like, if you need a tight end, I think this is a great deal. The way that you got Tank Dell was probably via waivers, which tells me that you probably have 4 other wide receivers that you can trust. So if you're taking one of those wide receivers from that depth to strengthen tight end, to strengthen your running back room, I have zero issue making that trade.
I'm not trading for a tight end that could literally at any point score nothing, and you could have picked up somebody off waivers that could have just done the exact same thing. I think Tank Dell is too valuable going down the road. I think he's way too valuable going down the road. I'm not ready to give up Tank Dell for McBride and Javonte right now. I'm not. Aaron Jones is like the non-factor here, but both sides fair. I get what Josh is saying. Defense, I'll take this one. Lions against the Bears, 49ers against Tampa, Miami against Vegas. Somebody dropped the 49ers defense in one of my leagues. Are you okay? Do you need a concussion check? Start the Niners this week. Yeah, start the Niners this week. Tampa, yeah, they beat up Houston. They didn't win. They won against Tennessee. Lions defense, yes, very intriguing. I will agree with that. If it's a sack-heavy league, I like the Lions defense more. If you're getting more points for sacks, but I'm going to assume you're not. Miami's defense, yes, very enticing against a bad Raiders offense. They're at home. The Niners are at home. It is a full cross-country trip for these Buccaneers. They are not very good, guys. The Buccaneers are not very good on offense. And Chase Young and Nick Bosa look like Ohio State 2.0 right now. They are back at it. Nick Bosa had done nothing until Chase Young started rushing opposite him. So I'm all in on the Niners this week. I love the Niners defense this week.
Here's a fun one, Joe. Over under 1.5 sacks for Jaylen Phillips for Miami.
Has he gotten a lot of sacks this year?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't. That's why. But again,
he's gotten to the quarterback.
It's the Vegas offensive line against a rookie quarterback. That's kind of what that's what I'm trying to get at. Because Bradley Chubb, after being traded for the midseason last year, signing a huge deal, really has done jack shit for the Dolphins defensive front.
So here's why that line is sitting like that. Before October 22nd against the Eagles,
I was just throwing that line out.
Oh yeah, he has 3.5 sacks in the season. He has a sack in each of the last 3 games. So, the Chiefs' offensive line. You think he can
do it? Is what I'm getting at.
I think he gets 1.5. I don't think he goes over. He's getting there. Their pass rush is getting better. I don't know. Jaylen Phillips has been getting there. He's not been getting the sacks is the issue. So,
it's kind of the same thing with Bosa, honestly. Like, Bosa's getting the pressures. He's just not finishing.
Don't want to hear shit about Nick Bosa, okay? Don't want to hear shit about him. If I told you my defensive players going into the season were Nick Bosa, Bobby Wagner, and Derwin James, you would say, did you cheat?
Yeah, right.
And 2 of those 3 guys have panned out. Nick Bosa has been running with his head up his ass and playing around with his balls in his pants. Like, what is happening to Nick Bosa? It is infuriating. Trade Amari Cooper for Josh Dobbs and Courtland Sutton. Had DW4. Why am I blanking at the Deshaun Watson at quarterback and need a quarterback? Yeah, sure.
I would make that trade all day.
100%. You need a quarterback, and Amari Cooper's quarterback situation just got worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, 1,000%. Yes. All right, we're going to fire through as many of these so we can get to our downsides. Just fly through these real quick. Tank Dell or Hollywood Brown rest of season. I mean, again, can you sit a Texan at this point?
You can't sit Tank Dell.
No, you cannot sit a Texan. Trey Cooper, we already went over that one. Lockett or Amari Cooper, PPR into Fakex.
Yeah, Lockett.
Lockett. We're not trusting Cooper with DTR at the quarterback position. Needs some help in the flex. 12-man PPR. He's got Herbert, Jacobs, Waddle, Sutton, Kelce, plus 2 more flex spots. Need to pick 2 in the flex. DeAndre Swift, Brian Robinson, Noah Brown. What a fucking question.
Oof.
What a fucking
Here's the thing. I feel like starting Noah Brown is chasing points. If Nico Collins is back this week, I'm going Swift and B-Rob. If Nico Collins remains out, because I believe he was limited in Wednesday's practice, then I'm going to go B-Rob and Noah Brown.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Would have thought Noah Brown's name on a start sit question in week 11.
Yeah.
God. Kelce or Laporta? Wow.
Both.
Joe Ortiz with the heavy hitter. Is it?
But you know what, though? This is actually a really good segue, Joe, into your downsides.
Is it Travis Swift or Sam Laporta? Let's talk about it. Fucking hate the tight end position. Yeah, we'll go into my downsides here because that's perfect. I have Josh Allen, 2 turnovers against the Jets. Also 2-1 last week. Fuck you for putting me at 1-2. You had Stephon Diggs at tied for wide receiver 53, and you said that was a loss. No, I had him outside the top 10. You moron. You fucked that up.
Wait, what?
I was 2-1 last week. You put on the sheet last week, I said Stephon Diggs outside the top 10, and you said L tied for wide receiver 53. I'm like, no, motherfucker. That is correct. I got that one right. I changed it on the sheet. Don't worry.
Oh, I was like, wait.
I was 2-1 last week, you dink. Adam Thielen outside the top 20 against Dallas, and I have Travis Kelce outside the top 8 against Philadelphia. Joe, I know you come to this show for my unbelievable statistical analysis. I know that's exactly why you come here. All right. I know that's why everybody comes here, for all the insight I bring statistically. Didn't Miami just show you what to do? Haven't teams just shown you what to do against Travis Kelce? They basically said, ignore literally everybody else on their defense, or on their offense, excuse me, and just cover Travis Kelce. You want to know why? Because Marquez Valdez-Scantling is running routes. Sky Moore is still employed. Kadarius Toney somehow hasn't had a hit put out on him. Notice how I'm not talking about Rashee Rice, because we love Rashee Rice on this show. But he's not ready yet. He's getting there. He's not the threat that teams need to worry about. If Rashee Rice drops 150 and 2 touchdowns on you, so be it. Don't let Travis Kelce do that. They have lined you up and told you exactly what to do against Travis Kelce. The Dolphins did. The Dolphins, guys. We know how bad that defense is. The Dolphins told you to do that. I don't like Kelce this week. I don't. He was the fucking tight end 24 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And Laporta's been money, and he's at home against the Bears. To me, that's a slam dunk, Sam Laporta. And Ryan cursed Travis Kelce this week. He cursed him with a 2-touchdown special. That should be the fucking lock right there. Josh, you can disagree, but it's Laporta.
I'm going to. Look, they're playing my Eagles. We're not great at covering tight ends. It's just a fact. You're not.
Neither is Miami. Neither is Miami. Neither is Miami.
Here's the thing. I have a similar situation with Laporta in one of my dynasty leagues because I have Mark Andrews and Sam Laporta. But we also have what is it? 6 flex spots in that league, Joe? 6 or 7.
In your dynasty league? Yeah, 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 flex spots. So I'm able to still start a lot of the other, wide receivers, tight end, or running backs, and find a way to fit Laporta in to my flex and still play Mark Andrews because Mark Andrews is going to have a great Thursday night game. But dude, you're not sitting Travis Kelce.
No.
The moment you sit Travis Kelce, he's the tight end 1 by 20 points. I'm just saying. You want to live on the edge, Joe? God bless you, bud. But
we sit Travis Kelce.
I'm not that far yet.
We sit Travis Kelce on the show. You're damn right. I hate.
That's how I know it's your fucking burner account, Joe.
This?
No, Joe.
Joe Ortiz?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was Mexican, that would be my burner account. 100%. Got a trade offer where I get Saquon and Amon-Ra for Debo, Hawkinson, and Kyler. Kyler can be kept for 1% of salary next year. I also play him week 13 where Saquon to be on a bye. We are team 1 and team 2. Saquon could be the most irrelevant factor of name brand the rest of the season. That being said, Amon-Ra St. Brown is otherworldly. I don't know if I'm doing this. I gotta know what you're thinking, because I am ARS being Keenan Allen are the two best receivers in the NFL, and fight me about it. So I don't know. I want to keep Amon-Ra in the situation, even though Saquon. But you're giving.
He's getting Saquon and Amon-Ra. That's the thing. Like, I mean, obviously trading Hawkinson is rough right now. He's the top 2 tight end on the season.
He's the tight end 1.
He's the tight end 1. Okay.
By 20 points.
Whew, damn.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to give up. So unless you have a Laporta, Kincaid, McBride to fill in for Hawkinson, that's a lot to give up.
Yeah.
But the jump from Debo to Amon-Ra,
massive.
Whew. Damn. Man.
I imagine too you have a quarterback, because you wouldn't have been playing Kyler the last 10 weeks. So okay, I am the best.
Yes, Trey McBride. Okay, like I'm fine.
Amon-Ra, go get fucking Amon-Ra St. Brown. Go get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, yeah, and Jalen Hurts. What are we doing? Yes, go get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not even a question.
Kyler at that point. Go win this year. Focus on this year. You have a chance to win this year. Go win this year. You figure out your keepers later.
He has Christian fucking McCaffrey. You don't need Saquon. Yes, go get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh my God, yes. Dog. Fucking woof woof Amon-Ra St. Brown. Roar. Lions. Bryce Ridley. Trade Canine, Ayuk, and Thielen for Derek and Tyreek. This is essentially, are you trading Kenneth Walker, Brandon Ayuk, and Thielen for Tyreek Hill?
Basically, yeah.
I don't think I'm doing that.
Yeah, I think I'm keeping the depth. Getting Tyreek is a lot.
It's definitely a lot.
Derrick Henry's just not good this year. He really hasn't been good.
No, what was he?
That's been the big problem.
He had 28 yards last week?
Yeah, it was
bad.
Tajee Spears had more fantasy points than Derrick Henry last week.
Yikes.
And I think you're going to really start to see more of that as we close out the season. But, yeah, I think I would keep K9 Ayuk and Thielen here. Especially with Frank Reich back as a play caller, Adam Thielen's going to be fine.
Yep. Would you rather have Tank Dell or Thielen rest of the season? Got someone willing to trade me Najee for Dell, then I flip Najee for Thielen. Who in your league wants Najee for Thielen?
I was literally thinking the same thing.
Who's had their head in their fucking...
To answer this question, I would rather have Tank Dell.
Yeah, Tank Dell. I'm still stuck on the fucking guy that wants Najee Harris for Adam Thielen.
That is how bad the running back position is this season, Joe.
Dude,
You're trying to get anybody, seriously, anybody carrying the football as an RB2 at this point.
He's the RB29. He's not startable. Adam Thielen.
And then there's 10 others that are ranked ahead of him that are on fucking IR right now. That's the problem.
Adam Thielen is a top 10 wide receiver, and we want to trade him away for Najee Harris? Dude, just take the fucking zero. Don't start a running back. What? Yeah, Tank Dell. George, we're not yelling. We're yelling at the ether because what the fuck is happening? What is this world? Dak or Mahomes? This is a straight up Mahomes because they are not going to need to throw the football, are the Cowboys.
Not this week anyway.
Mahomes, 100%. Would you rather get Pollard? Would you rather Pollard or Saquon? Pollard, 1,000,000%. Saquon is playing behind like your third grade flag football 5-on-5 team. Like that, they're not.
I don't love Pollard, but I like more than Saquon. Saquon is doing the best he can in the situation that is right now. And that situation
is he
awful.
Is he?
What could he really be doing better with a third string quarterback and a JV fucking offensive line? Like, seriously.
Justin Pugh straight off the couch. Bryce asking K9 for Bijan straight up. I would
actually be fine going to get Bijan.
I would do that.
I'd be fine with this because I think Algier's still gonna have his snaps. I think Bijan is just more efficient. K9, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a smidge worried about. Just a smidge. Just a smidge.
Yeah. And George is a great question. If Thielen's top 10, why keep Dell over him? It's a great question.
One's going this way, the other's going this way.
What? It's less. He's more flatlining. He's more flatlining than he is like plummet.
Dell is going to age better.
Oh yeah,
because he's younger.
100%.
Long seasons for 33-year-old wide receivers, they start to wear down. That's all I'm going to say.
And to remember, Tank Dell missed some games. He's averaging 15 fantasy points per game. Thielen's 17.8. So Tank is less than 3 points behind Thielen in points per game. So it's fairly close when they're on the field, and Dell has immense more amount of upside than Adam Thielen. Now, if Frank Reich comes back to calling plays and Adam Thielen goes back to 11 targets and 10 catches for 120 yards, we'll eat our words, I'm sure. But Tank Dell has way more upside moving forward. That's why we like Tank Dell. Sorry, Mateo. What about Henry? Fuck Derrick Henry. No. Absolute no. Dumpster fire. Need 3. Holy fuck. James Cook, Javonte Williams, Terry McLaurin, Isiah Pacheco, Calvin Ridley. I mean, is the easy sit?
My downsides, but
yeah, I was about to say, is the sit Ridley and Pacheco?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Clean sweep there.
Definitely Ridley. Yeah, definitely Ridley.
Yeah, and that
I think you could make an argument either way for James Cook or Pacheco, in my opinion. I'm not the biggest on Terry McLaurin. It is a good matchup, but the Commanders scored all of 14 points against the Giants a few weeks back.
Well, and for some fucking reason, Sam Howell
doesn't like throwing to Terry McLaurin. I don't get it.
Did Terry McLaurin fuck his sister or something? Like, what is happening that Terry McLaurin is not getting the football? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, Josh has Isiah Pacheco under 10 fantasy points against Philly. He also has Jordan Addison under 11 against Denver, and Dalton Schultz outside the top 10 against Arizona. So Josh does not like Pacheco. I'm going to trust him because he watches the Eagles every week. So I'll trust him on that one.
But, more to the point, like, the Eagles literally have the best run defense in the NFL. And it's a full 10 yards per game better than the second stingiest run defense.
Can I ask, is that due to the fact that they have a combined 750 pounds of defensive linemen from Georgia in the middle of the defense?
I'm sure that probably has something to do with it.
I think it plays into it.
Not going to lie. But they also allow the second fewest fantasy points to running backs since week 6. Where running backs beat them is through the air. Pacheco has been the leading receiving running back on the Chiefs, but through 9 games has 28 targets. Like 3 targets per game is not going to beat this Eagles defense.
And this is starting to become Jerick McKinnon time, I think.
And you know what? Around week 11 was when he took off last year. Yeah. He was the RB4 in fantasy from week 11 to the end of the season. So
he finished as the RB20 doing nothing in the first 10 weeks.
Yeah, like it really would not surprise me if they try to get McKinnon a little bit more involved and they were just kind of holding him back because, again, he's an older player. You don't want him to get too much of a beating early. And Pacheco's he's a road grinder, right? The Eagles remember what Pacheco did to them in the Super Bowl. 76 yards, touchdown late. And Zach Cunningham has played really fucking well this year at linebacker.
Yeah, after 3 seasons of bouncing around teams because he couldn't figure it out.
Really well. So I think that they can keep Pacheco in check this week. Hey,
how about them fucking dogs?
There you go, man.
How about them fucking dogs? All right. Do I read stream of the week this week? Am I doing the video?
We still got to do Ryan's downsides.
Oh, yeah, the no touchdown specials. Derrick Henry, Tyler Lockett, Evan Ingram. So all of them
I love how you just kind of like gloss right over that.
All of them will have touchdowns. That's all you need to know. Derrick Henry's going to score. Tyler Lockett's going to have 2. Evan Ingram's going to have 7. That's all you need to know. There you go.
And yeah, you can. I mean, I can read through them. It doesn't matter. He gave us a little note, so we can at least touch on.
All right. Do I need to do like the video or no?
No.
Okay. I was.
I mean, if you want to.
This is no, I won't. Week 11 stream of the week from Ryan. He's got Russell Wilson against Minnesota. He's the QB 13 on the season, averaging 20 points per game over his last 3. Ironically, the Vikings allow 20 points per game to the.
I'm honestly surprised that Russell Wilson qualifies for stream.
That is surprising.
He's actually been a respectable quarterback in fantasy this year. Here's
my thought: is that people who did have him the previous week saw his matchup against Buffalo and panicked on Monday Night Football. I think it was a panic drop. But yeah, after clearing waivers, that is surprising because this is after clearing waivers. Logan Thomas against the Giants at tight end. He's tight end 12 in the season. He's just had 1 less touchdown than the tight end 2, averaging 10 points per game and scored 9 on them in week 7 without a touchdown. I said at least 5 targets in each of his last 4 games, and the Giants just allowed 426 and a touchdown to Jake, Mr. Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys. And the defense, the Miami Dolphins, brought up earlier. Again, a very good matchup. Ryan believes there's going to be a boat race. The Raiders can't live on this coaching change high. The Dolphins will be coming off of a bye. The Jets had 3 sacks and 2 takeaways last week against the Raiders. Miami averages 3 sacks and 1 takeaway per game. So yes, if you do need to stream a defense, the Dolphins are looking pretty. Or if you're in a dumbass league like mine and somebody dropped the 49ers, you can go pick them up too. So yeah, the Dolphins do have a just incredibly favorable matchup this week. So, well, in hour 16, fuck it, why not? Fuck it, why not? Would have been an hour and 40 if Ryan was here. So I'm not mad about it. Like all the questions. This was the most.
I was going to say, look, as long as if it's not just us rambling to ramble, I'm fine going over because we're keeping up with the audience. It's engaging, and hey, if you're new to the stream and I see a few new names, please hit subscribe, like the video. All this stuff helps us reach our goal of crossing that 1,000 threshold on YouTube. It's very much appreciated, and we love each and every one of you.
Myers or McLaurin? Myers is against Miami. Going to have to throw. McLaurin against the Giants. Myers.
I don't trust Aiden O'Connell. Give me McLaurin.
Yeah. Do we trust Terry McLaurin? Actually, do we trust Sam Howell to throw to Terry McLaurin after Terry McLaurin clearly...
The way that Sam Howell has played of late, I'm going to trust McLaurin a little bit more.
Yeah, but I think Terry McLaurin's been like twiddling with his daddy on the side because he doesn't like him. So I'm confused on what the misconnection there is. But yes, I will go Terry McLaurin as well. He had like 1 catch for 15 yards in the first half against the Giants, and then in the third quarter, Sam Howell was like, "Oh, you're open like always, so maybe I should throw to you."
Right?
So, yeah. Can you imagine? Terry McLaurin finally is like a top 5 like fantasy quarterback right now. Terry McLaurin is feasting on none of it because Sam Howell doesn't like that he slid into his sister's DMs. Like, it's insane. All these asinine stories.
Do you even know if Sam Howell has a sister?
I have no clue. I have zero idea what it is. Maybe he made like a Korean joke and Sam Howell's Korean and Terry and he didn't like it. Okay. I don't know. I couldn't tell. Did Ohio State beat UNC in fucking basketball recently?
I mean, probably.
What happened? What happened? Because it makes no sense. That being said, ride the race car. Terry McLaurin. Joe, thanks, buddy. We love you. This is great. Good show. Thanks, everybody. For those that don't know, we don't do Wednesday shows the week of Thanksgiving, so we will not be back on Wednesday. That being said, if you have questions, tweet at us, DM us at Club Fantasy FFL. Just ask
I'm
away.
trying to utilize the community page on YouTube a little bit more. So I'm going to try to like do some posts here and there so people can, drop comments and, questions and everything. And we're more than happy to answer them on there as well. So.
Yeah, please. Yeah, we want to help you guys out. Like, we just don't do the show because we take that week. But we will be there for Saturday for starts at different day though. So after the Thursday game. So if you still have questions leading into Sunday, we will be there.
You're off this Saturday, right, Joe?
I am off this Saturday because we have.
So I'm filling in for you Saturday.
We got 3 home games, baby. Go Fuel. Let's hope we don't get swept. We have 3 home games, so I won't be there Saturday. So yeah, won't be there. Josh fills in
Saturday. So
yeah, gonna be fun. But I will be there the following Saturday, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So we don't have a show next week, but we will have a show on Saturday after Thanksgiving to answer your start sit questions leading into Sunday and Monday Night Football. So we'll be good. That's all she wrote, folks. For Josh at the One Hudsonian, Ryan at the Fantasy 5, myself at Joe_Zollo, but more importantly, Indy Fuel at Indy Fuel. Thanks. Please go follow me. Help me make some money. You can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships, offense wins fantasy. We will not see you next week. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy early Thanksgiving to everybody. We will see you on Saturday for Start Sit